huge fan of your data center architecture.
Yeah.
I'm learning something every time I look at it. But I'm actually also a big fan of Columbia Sportswear, and we get some proof of that. So I was on a camping trip a few weeks ago in eastern Utah, and you can see our kids here, fully decked out in Columbia gear. I think I was wearing some Sierra pants and some Grand Canyon hiking shoes.
Nice, nice. It's great to see this. I mean, we want to keep our customers warm, dry, and cool. But one thing I want to point out, Columbia Sportswear is much more than just Columbia Sportswear. We're actually a family of brands. In fact, what I'm wearing today, I've got Sorel boots on, Piranha pants, a Columbia shirt, and then this jacket is from Mount Hardware. It's using our innovative dry cube fabric, stands up to just about anything Mother Nature will throw at it.
All right, perfectly decked out here. So let's come back to IT. Columbia is one of the most innovative companies, I think, on the retail side
Yes.
that I've seen. You managed to do a transition from what I would call a classic traditional data center to a modern private cloud. Can you share with us some of the experiences from that? Was it easy?
You know, really, it's not, the answer you'd say is the technology hard, and it's really not. It really comes down to culture. Building the proper culture within your teams and your infrastructure groups. And for us, a really easy way of doing that is the book club. Have people read books. One of the books we focused on was the Phoenix Project. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. The big analogy of the Phoenix Project is to treat IT as a factory. So focusing on efficiencies, optimizations, and I think it's a really good approach. But when we see things like what you showed on stage, the Shadow IT Challenge, or disruptive applications being brought into the enterprise, I don't know if it always holds up. Another book we've been reading is a book by Stanley McChrystal, General Stanley McChrystal, who ran Special Forces in the Middle East. He came up against a very difficult enemy, and it required him to look a little differently. They realized that efficiency wouldn't work for them, and so they had to focus on greater communication, robustness, and resiliency. A very insightful book. I encourage you guys to read it.
Awesome. So you've also been one of the, I think, earliest adopters, or maybe the first customer even, right? Of what we just saw as the security analytics service, right?
Yes.
Which is based on the Arkin acquisition.
Yes.
And you're actually using that today as a SaaS service in the cloud to do network analytics for your on-prem software-defined data center. Is that correct?
Exactly. The Arkin tool is amazing. Very simple to use. The interface, very GUI-like, Google for network operations or security operations. Been very helpful for us. Gives us great insight into security, network, NSX, hardware, but it really comes down to how easy is it to use. And one of the ways that we innovated with this, and we innovated with the Arkin team, is on firewall rules. How do you determine what's going on in a network when you have, say, a virtual layer, a hardware layer, multiple firewalls, NSX, Palo Alto, and the Arkin tool has that ability. We were able to work with them and take what essentially was a 45-minute process and get it down to 5 minutes very easily through Arkin.
Fantastic. All the SaaS. So you saw my network configuration here for my app. What do you think? Is that kosher? Is it,
We have a term at Columbia Sportswear called tested tough, and I think your database is going to get tested tough if you leave it that way.
Just leave it
the
accessible.
wrong way.
All right. So here's the good news, and can we switch back to the demo? The part of VMware Cross Cloud Services is essentially a SaaS version of NSX